So we are live with another episode of the Up and In Show from Cards and Culture with my boy Alex Lange.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you were one of the first, the OG of the 6 episodes. Remember that over at Marucci?
That was 3 years ago.
What was that? 2019, I think 18. It was. That was a long time ago. So we started our podcast, Jared and I. For any new listeners, anybody who is listening, the Up and In Show started in 2018. It was going into the winter of 2019. It was exactly. I think it was right around that time. But we recorded our first 6 episodes over at Marucci in Baton Rouge, and we did 6 back-to-back episodes.
I think I was the last one too.
Were you?
I think it was like midnight or something.
We were there long. We were there long.
Night,
so
that's for sure.
I mean, anytime you have Coach Maneri in there, it's going to be a long mix. I love him, but that's why we're producing this podcast for him here. Did you know that?
No.
We're producing a podcast for him. Tell me podcasts aren't made for him. Like he's got so much information, so much knowledge, so much years of experience, and he loves to talk. It's like I was like, Coach, this is what you need to be doing.
Turn the mic on and you just let him sit there for 2 hours and then it's over.
Yes.
There's your content right there.
Yes.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's
fun. And I don't know if you met the other one of our employees here, Kylie Maris. Mm-hmm. Her last name is Maris, and her grandfather was Roger Maris. So I'm like,
pretty good bloodline there.
Yeah, exactly. She got the baseball bloodline, and she studied sports broadcasting. She wanted to be a sports journalist.
There it is.
We're gonna do this right here. But anyway, enough about that show. Awesome. Let's introduce Alex. Alex is you were drafted in 2017, first round pick by the Chicago Cubs.
Cubs, yeah.
What pick were you?
30.
I didn't know if it was 29 or 30, but I knew 30, it was right there.
Yep.
That's awesome. Pro ball journey started, got traded, right?
Traded in 19.
That's crazy.
Detroit,
pretty quick.
Quick.
So if anybody wants to listen, we had kind of Alex's first journey on the episode. He did a great job kind of storytelling. Jared and I bantered with him, talked about a little bit about the beginning of journey of pro ball, but I'm excited to talk this time around because there's a completely different realm now. You're a big leaguer.
Different.
Yeah,
that's
you made the utopia, dude.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so give us a little bit of insight. You made your debut this year. Obviously, last year was a really weird year. We can dive into all that because I want to ask a million questions, and I know people want to listen to it. But tell me a little bit about the debut, how it went, your phone call, like the experience.
Oh, so I have a crazy. I'm getting the goosebumps.
I know, dude. I'm getting the goosebumps because I was just thinking, I'm like, I want to hear everything when you call your mom, like all this stuff. Like,
so it's kind of crazy. So mine's way different than most people. Maybe not quite now because of the COVID year. You know, it's a lot similar to a lot of guys now. So I was put on the taxi squad out of the alternate site. So there was no AAA going on for the first month of the season, and so I was put on the taxi squad. So we were going to Cleveland. You know, if anything happens, I was on the 40-man roster. So you know, I kind of knew like if somebody gets sick or if somebody gets hurt or something, like there's a real possibility that I might be debuting. But you know, I wasn't part of the team yet. So we fly over. And you know, I go to the field, but I'm not active. But I'm at the field, so I get my full workout in. I'm shagging. Yeah. You know, the fans are coming in. Yeah. I'm standing out there. I got my pants, my cleats, the uni on, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. You know. But
you're not active.
I'm not active.
That's
I'm not
so
on the team.
Crazy that you're actually there because this story happens in the minor leagues a lot, right? Like but you're in the minor leagues still. So
yeah,
this
exactly.
Is nuts.
So like I'm there, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you know, I kind of use it as get the jitters out. Like this is what it is. Yeah. So when you know your name is called and you're going, like, it's not going to be all of these emotions at once. So I try to kind of use it as a you know a stepping stone to get ready for it. So they go out in the game. We go back to the hotel to hang out. And for some reason, the game I can't get it on the TV. It was like blacked out in Cleveland, and we're not even a half a mile from the field, so I can't watch the game. So I have it on my iPad, following it along, hanging out. And Tehran ends up getting hurt. And so they go deep into the bullpen. And I was like, oh, you know, like, who knows?
Right.
There was other relievers there, and who knows? So I'm literally about to go to bed. It's like 11 o'clock after the game ends. It's like, 11. I'm like, I'm going to get up, go walk around, see the city, and see everything. And our pitching coach, Feder, calls me. I'm like, whoa, that's weird. It's like 11 o'clock. That's weird. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm in bed, about to go to sleep. What's up? And he's like, be in room, whatever it was, in 5 minutes. I was like, okay. I get dressed. I call one of my buddies. I'm like, dude,
this might be.
I think I'm going to the big leagues.
Oh,
I'm
man,
not sure.
I got chills, dog.
I do too. I was like, I call him. I'm like, man, I think I'm going. Like I told him the situation. He's like, oh yeah, you're 100% going. You're 100% going. I'm like, dude, what do I wear? Like I've never. Like, I don't even know what to do because normally it's, hey, come to the manager's office, or they mess with you or something. But it's like, hey, come to this room. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So,
what did you wear? You put sweatpants on?
I had a hoodie and like joggers.
Yeah,
and
yeah, nice.
Like decent shoes.
Yeah,
you know, I looked okay.
Yeah,
It
wasn't like sloppy like shower shoes.
No, it wasn't sloppy for sure. So I get in the elevator and I go up. It was like the 20th floor or whatever, and I go the wrong way down the hall. I can't even think.
Yeah,
like, what's going on?
Heart's racing.
Yeah, I go down the hall and I'm like literally at the end of the hall, and my pitching coach like looks down the hall. He's like, Lang, what are you doing over here? And I was like, oh, okay. So I go like, you know, I don't like run. I walk over there and I walk in, and through the double doors opens the biggest hotel room I've ever seen. And AJ Hinch is in there.
Is it the presidential? It's got to be something.
It is fit for a king.
Yes.
It is modern, sleek. Everything is huge. And I walk in, there's a giant dining room. There's like a big like vase thing right in the foyer. And I'm like, what am I?
Where am I?
This is not what my hotel looks like at all.
My room doesn't. How long do I got to play?
Exactly. And so I walk in and AJ's in there. You know, AJ Hinch, our manager, and he's like, it's good to be a big league manager. He starts laughing. I was like, yeah, I can see that. You know, here's the kitchen, the living room's here, here's the dining room, the bathroom. Good, yeah. Oh, there's the bedroom's like way over there.
Yeah.
And he goes, do you know why you're up here? And I was like, I have no idea. And in my head, I'm like, I think so. I think I do. He's like, well, idea. So he tells me, he's like, you know, we're going to activate you tomorrow and you're officially a big leaguer starting tomorrow. Go. So he shook my hand, told me congratulations. And, you know, it was a pretty cool moment for him too, because he's like, I don't get to tell guys that they're big leaguers unless you make it out of camp. He's like, I don't get the joy of telling somebody that you're a big leaguer until the day they get there. But this is pretty cool. And I was like, I mean, what a way. So gave him a hug, gave Federer a hug. And the next day, just kind of, it was a flash. So, you know, I called my mom that night, called all my people, had some people come up, meet me there. So it was a whirlwind. It was late too.
That's what I mean. Like that's such a crazy thing is you got to make all your phone calls right away. Then those people got to drop everything they're doing in their life to try to make it happen.
Absolutely.
You know?
I mean, and like I said, it was like 11:30 once I got through. Yeah. I didn't get off the phone with people till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And, you know, people are racing to buy flights, blah, 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 trying to get there. And it's just, it's a whirlwind of emotion and stuff. And it's just, it was crazy. I was super blessed that I didn't have to catch a 6 a.m. flight and be active that night. You know, 100%. I got a good night's sleep, a good breakfast, got room service. Yeah. I'm a big leaguer, got the room service.
You had the big league dream. We were already in the big leagues, but hadn't had the call up. That's nice.
It was crazy. Awesome. So, you know, and then the next day you go in there and it's like, I know where to go.
Yeah.
I know where my locker's at. I know how the day works. Like I just did this yesterday.
Yes.
And, you know, it didn't really hit me until I put the uni on, and it was 10 minutes before, and I can't find my hat because I wasn't given a game hat yet because I wasn't active. So I'm running around trying to talk to the club. He'd be like, bro, I need a hat. So, you know, and then just go sit in the bullpen, sit with Holland, hang out for a little bit. He's, you know, 14-year big leaguer.
Yeah.
You know,
did you have to carry the backpack and do all that? And
I carried the backpack for a while. You know, it's an honor.
Yeah, it is.
That's a badge of honor. You get to wear the backpack.
It is. So if anybody listening, what that means is the kind of the rookie, the newest, the guy with least amount of service time, right? Probably carries a backpack, and it's usually pink or has some sort of flair or flash to it where you're walking through the outfield, and it's a little embarrassing, but it's kind of like Alex said, it's an honor. You're like, this is my first time in the big leagues. I don't care. I'm rocking this thing.
You're making fun of me from the stands. Hey, I'm on the field with the backpack. What's up? Who's making fun of who?
How much you paid for your ticket to watch me
exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's
funny,
I always laughed and always appreciated that too. When you sit in the dugout after you're not the guy carrying it anymore, you're like, okay, that's cool. You get to watch who the new guys are in the bullpen and stuff.
You respect it, man. It's you know, like I said, it's a badge of honor. It's you know, it's pretty cool to be able to carry the backpack. You know, everyone always wants to. Yeah. It's always like, I'm a little nervous for it, but like, you know, it was awesome.
When I was with the White Sox, it was my first time in the bullpen, and I kept telling everybody, I was like, fuck that, I'm carrying it. Give me the backpack. Yeah. I'm like, I don't care if I don't have the least amount. I'm like, I want it today.
Yeah,
like,
I want to give me the backpack. I pitched well yesterday. Exactly. I carried the backpack. Give me that again.
I'm like, man, my arm felt good yesterday. I'm carrying that backpack every day now. Exactly. Oh man, that's so great. What about did you guys get to dress up for your last flight or?
Unfortunately, we didn't.
No,
that got nixed.
Really? Was it because you guys weren't in the playoffs, that kind of stuff, or
COVID?
Really?
That's what they said.
Just not like can't be celebrating, putting stuff out there.
I just think it was a hard no from up top.
That's crazy.
We pushed for it. I wanted to. I mean, that's, like I said, that's
memories.
That's an experience that everybody always talks about. What'd you dress up as? We had a basketball dress up flight and a football.
Okay, that's cool. So, that's cool.
It wasn't the tutu walking down the street.
No, exactly. Not singing in the rain. And no. I'm trying to think what I did. I got lucky, dude. I got so lucky because when I was with the Rangers and the White Sox, they were super cool with me. I still technically was a rookie, and I should have been.
What year were you with the Rangers?
15, 16, and part of 16.
So you were there with Holland, weren't you?
Yeah.
So
and
a nut.
Dude, I got so lucky though. They were so cool with me. Colby Lewis was like my guy. He was a veteran, and him and I were just like bros. So he told me, he's like, dude, you did it last year, right? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, all right, you don't got to do it. And I was like, my man. So it was like he spoke to Holland. He had all the service, and like, so it was great. I got out of that one. And the same thing happened with the White Sox. I had Matt Albers as my next door locker mate, and him and I just became boys, and he was super nice to me. And same thing happened. He was just like, he's like, do you want to dress up? Not really. I was like, I don't know these guys as much, and I feel like I forget who the veteran was. I was like, Frazier was there, and I'm like, yo, I just don't feel like giving Frazier too much ammo. I'm like, him and I can't give him an edge, like two Jersey guys. And he was like, all right, cool. He's like, yeah, we won't make you dress up. So we were
gonna have a deep squad dressing up because of everybody last year didn't dress up
true.
either. So they had 2 years in a row no dress up. So I don't know, maybe next year.
Maybe
the whole team.
That's it. Just a whole team dress up.
A whole team.
If you have under 3 years of service time, you motherfuckers are dressing up.
Dressing up, and you're walking back to the hotel.
Yes, exactly. But usually you're so drunk at that point, or like people just have a good time, celebrate on the plane, and it's a good time. It's just so fun. It is, and it's one of those things. You're walking down the street, you're like, yep, I am a Major League Baseball player. Actually, they're dressing me up like this because it's part of this hazing ritual.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a rite of passage.
It's a rite of passage. I was like, what's the better word other than hazing? I'm sure we probably can't use that one anymore.
I think that was a big one.
That's it. Rite of passage. We're gonna keep that one. We'll edit the other part out. But dude, so it's so weird that you kind of got robbed of that experience, and it's funny how things change, right? We talk about your Major League debut. It was almost like you had a little taste of it because of COVID. Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the year before and how weird that was. Like, talk to me the COVID year. That's crazy.
Man, I think it was weird for everybody.
Yeah.
Especially athletes. It's kind of a blessing in disguise for me. I kind of identified a lot of stuff that, I needed to work on. And you basically got like a 9-month off season.
Nice, yeah.
So you kind of got a fresh slate that's the way I looked at it. I was like, I got the most unique opportunity as an athlete. I know it works. I know it doesn't work. I got 9 months to focus on what works.
Yeah.
How can I change my game? And how can I optimize what I can do in 9 months? So, I built the plyo wall. I got with the driveline guys and strength coach out in Houston, and we just overhauled everything. And I just trained every day. I just fell in love with the process. I was just like, I'm just going to do this and see what happens. I mean, get one chance at it. I'm not going to use this COVID as an excuse. And I was just like, man, I'm just going to go throw these balls as hard as I can and see where we're at. See where we end up in a year.
Wow, got chills, dude. That's a really unique perspective.
It was cool, man. And I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about like accountability and what you can do by yourself. I had a little bit of help, obviously, with there's a guy, Barry Manuel, in Eunice, Louisiana, at the high school over there that let me use all the facilities. He came out through with me every day. He was my long toss partner.
Where is this? Is this in Houston or
Eunice,
here?
Louisiana? Yeah.
Why were you in? Oh, is that?
Yeah, that's where I was staying at the time during the quarantine, and so he allowed me to train with him. He played with the Rangers back in the day. He was an LSU.
I know
guy.
That name.
Yeah, he was an LSU guy.
Okay,
yeah.
I know his name.
So he said, "Yeah, man, I'll throw with you every day if you want." So I was like, "All right, sweet." So I was there with him for about 2 months, and then I went over to Houston in May.
Okay.
And so I just used the 4 months there, and then I got called to the alternate site for a little bit, and then I was there for 3 or 4 weeks. They said, "Hey, you're done for the year." So I went up to Driveline. I was like, "All right, here's my off season." This was like August.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, for the next another 6 months, I'm gonna be ready for next year.
Right.
We've done the work from March to now. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. Let's revamp it. Let's focus in on what we need to get better at. Went to Driveline, got all that done. Spent about 2 weeks up there at their facilities. Really learning the biomechanics of everything. Really diving into movement patterns and everything. And I'm just trying to know every little detail about this and just see what can happen. And
that's badass.
The day I was finishing there, flying back to Houston, start training again, I get a call back and they're like, "Hey, you need to come back to Detroit and Toledo. We need you to throw some more." And I was like, "All right." Like,
when was that?
It was September.
Okay,
beginning
last
of
month.
September.
Yeah,
so it was the last month of the season. I was like, "All right." Did another 3-day quarantine up there. Threw about another 8 or 9 innings. I don't think I gave up a run. It was kind of like my best stretch of the year. It was like I was locked in. I felt good. I was confident. Stuff was working. And then they ended up putting me on the taxi squad for the last week of the season. So it was me, Zach Short, Travis Demerit, and Jake Rogers at Comerica Park, acting like a big leaguer with no big leaguers there because they were on the road. And so we were just there by ourselves, full kitchen staff, wait staff, everything. It was like a big league day. We'd go out there, throw a live BP, they'd hit BP, and that was it.
What?
And so it was for a week. Dude, I was in the big league locker room changing.
That's kind of dope.
It was awesome, man.
Yeah.
So it was like you got the taste, and everybody needs that.
Yes.
Guys in the minor leagues need to experience that, how good it is, because it's worth it.
Yep.
It's freaking worth it. If you could put the work in and you can just see, give me a week,
Yep.
give me 4 days, just like let me experience what it's like, and it makes all that shit down there worth it.
Dude, crazy. And also, too, the perspective that you said earlier in the conversation kind of like grabbed me, but there is a flood of emotions going on in your debut, and when I like all kinds of spectrums, right? You're dealing with family, people coming, your emotion, your adrenaline, all these things, your fears, your anxieties, and then you got to like, you're literally learning, okay, where does this go? I'm in a clubhouse that I've never been in before, and I'm expected to perform at the highest point in my life. So just that week, I remember the Red Sox had this like rookie program or something that it was called, and that's exactly what it was. It would take the top prospects every year, and it was winter time, so it was a little different. That must have been really cool during the season to do that, like in the middle of the season. But and it really does, like just being familiar with the clubhouse, knowing how to get to the field from the club, where the weight room is,
where to park.
Yeah, exactly.
Who do I talk to park the freaking car so I can get inside and I know where to go instead of and it's a shit you don't think about.
Right.
And honestly, it made my transition really easy.
That's awesome.
Last September. And then they sent me to Instructs. My first instructional league, I was 25 years old.
After COVID?
After COVID.
Oh, my God.
Instructs during COVID might be hell on earth.
I think so.
Like,
what did you do wrong?
We were in the dorms, and we had a 3-day quarantine in the dorms. Couldn't leave, couldn't do anything, right?
In dorms?
In the dorms. I at least had a suite.
Okay.
That's what they called it.
Yeah.
So there was a bathroom. The shower didn't work. The bathroom barely worked. So I shared a shower and a bathroom with another older guy. There was a few older guys, mainly younger guys. The older guys were mainly arms that needed a little bit, a few more innings, and they wanted to get, a little bit more reads on guys.
Wow.
So 3-day quarantine there. We get off the field. We get on the field, 4 or 5 days. Boom, someone tests positive. Whole camp shuts down. 3 more days in the dorm. I turned 25 years old in quarantine in a dorm room, and I was like, man, what am I doing? This is what I signed up for. I'm like, what is this? We get out, 3 more days. Then, like, the kitchen breaks or something. So then, the food, something happens, and it's just like, I'm just sitting there. I was like, man, this is just
questioning life.
Like, what is this?
Where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah. And so you had, and no Wi-Fi. I mean, it was
no Wi-Fi?
I mean, it was brutal.
What dorms were you guys in?
We were in the Tiger Town dorms. I don't know if you've ever been to Lakeland. There's a Tiger Town.
No, I haven't been there. No.
So on one of our days off, we went to Target, and we bought Wi-Fi boosters and routers, and we convinced the guy at the front desk to let us in the electrical room and rewire the Wi-Fi and try to make it so it would work, so we could at least connect our phones to it, so we could at least scroll through Instagram, scroll through Twitter, scroll through YouTube, and have something to do. I promise you. So he's like, you really think you can fix it? And we're like, we bought $500-$600 worth of equipment, and we're like, we're going to try. We spent all day doing it. I remember we finally got it working, and we could actually get a group of us that could use the Wi-Fi, and that was my quarantine story.
If that's not the most minor league shit I'd ever heard in my life. Man, a group of us went to Target. We got some routers, some plugins, some extensions. We went in this man's electric room to rewire our own Wi-Fi.
I remember walking in there, and I looked at the thing, and I was like, man, there's no way we're going to figure it out. I have no electrical background. I don't know what I'm doing.
You guys were so pumped to do it. You're like, we're going to figure it out.
We were probably in there 4 hours.
Did it work? And did it work?
It worked.
It did?
It did work.
Who was the guy? Who was
Zach Houston.
He was the guy.
Mississippi State.
There's always one guy that's like, let me try this, do
this. We were trying
it.
everything, this, that, and the other, and we finally figured it out. And video games, you couldn't really get online for video games, but the phone worked, the videos worked, you could stream stuff.
That's unacceptable. That's crazy though.
So it worked out, and in a long story, we got on the field, we got some good work in. It was a good time, great memories. While you're going through it, it was
never want to go through it.
Never want to go back, but I'm glad I went through it. It was kind of fun looking back. The stories are great.
Yeah. That's insane. That's the most minor league shit I've ever heard in my life. That's so incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, and the protocols were crazy because of COVID.
It would have
been way more laxed and fine had there not been COVID, but obviously that puts the protocols were pretty strict.
What did you guys have to do? Because I mean, talking to Brandy at the Olympic, and watching her go through it this year and all that stuff. What was MLB's protocol?
So the Tigers protocol was actually pretty lax because we were vaccinated at 80% by April. So
Nice.
we had no masks in the dugout, no masks in the weight room, no social distancing, nothing. Everything was good to go basically from the get-go.
Nice.
But a lot of teams still didn't reach that point where they couldn't leave the hotel. They had to wear the mask. They had to get tested every day or every other day. Masks in the weight room, masks in the dugout.
Some guys just didn't want to get the vaccine. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And so they weren't at 80%.
Yeah, it was 80 or 85%, and then you were good to go. And it was kind of like, as a team, collectively, we were kind of just like, guys, let's get back to normal as soon as possible. And, we had our lockers separated for about half the year, and then at the end of the year, they put all the couches, the ping pong tables.
Nice. Went back to normal.
Yeah, the food, eating went back to normal. You didn't have to order it on the app. Like, spread was actually out.
So you guys had to order on an app in the beginning?
You'd have to order on an app, and you'd have to put your time in, and you'd have to go pick it up, and they would give it to you. And be your name, like a little receipt, like a little DoorDash.
Yeah.
What I got,
COVID, man.
So it was
Crazy
something.
shit.
It was crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
Oh, man. Well, talk to me a little bit about, let's get back to some baseball talk.
Yeah.
So you've been doing all this driveline stuff, understanding movement patterns, honing your craft, doing all that stuff. Your velo jumped up a little bit this year, right? Mm-hmm. Haven't hit triple digits yet?
Not yet.
Close?
It's coming.
It's coming. You got 99, though.
98.6.
Hey,
we don't round up.
I'm saying 99 on my podcast. Okay?
I don't round up.
I do. I'm rounding
It
up.
is what it is.
You're not doing it.
It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't.
I'm saying
it ain't 99.
This dude on my podcast throws 99. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I don't care. You're right. You're the player. You're the guy. You can still say it, but I'm like, yo, he throws 99. So, but seriously, man, that's awesome. I've seen you. It's been really cool for me to watch your career. After I was playing pro ball when you first came to LSU, there was a lot of hype around you, and you had a great freshman year and obviously great career at LSU. So just to watch your stuff go from, low to mid 90s at LSU, even as a freshman, at 90 and 92, 93, and then from be 93 to 96 at the end of your career, and now be a high 90s guy, dude. It's the full evolution. And then you've always had a great curveball. So it's just been fun to watch you put these pieces together. I remember the first time you got back from the fall league, and you're like, yeah, dude, I got up to like 97, 98, and I was like, all right, here we go. And now you're in the big leagues throwing 98, and man, that's awesome. So what were some of the things that clicked for you? Because, a lot of people always want to know how to throw harder and stuff. So what was it for you?
Man, how long and how lean can you be? That's
really?
That's what I think it is.
Nice.
Man. I mean, how athletic moving can you be? How mobile can you be?
Yeah.
I look at guys like DeGrom.
Yeah.
I look at a guy like Zach Wheeler. They're long and lean. I'm a smaller pitcher in today's game. A lot of guys are 6'5", 6'6", long, like you are. How could I maximize my shoulder hip separation?
Right.
Is basically where velo comes from.
Yep.
All thing else in the right spot.
Nice.
So if you're carrying more weight, I carried more weight early in my career. That shoulder hip separation is not quite there. It's not quite as much as it could be.
Right. So weight was interesting, was a variable for you. Like you had to manage your weight to help get better hip and shoulder separation.
Yeah. And for me, it was just like, why not just try to get in the best shape as I can?
Yeah.
Why not just try to be as lean as possible, within reason. I'm not talking
You're not trying to be skinny.
2, 3, 4%.
Yeah.
Around 10, that was a goal of mine. I don't really care how heavy I am. I don't care what the scale says.
Yeah.
I just want to move fast.
Nice.
Everything I do, I want to move fast.
Yeah.
So my training now is a lot more, how fast can I move that deadlift? Not how much can I deadlift. Obviously, strength's important.
Yeah.
But I feel at a certain point, strength doesn't matter anymore in baseball.
Yeah.
You need a baseline strength. You need to be able to move enough weight.
Right.
There's not a number to me, but how fast can you move the weight? 245, can you pick it up at 1 meter per second?
Nice.
How fast can you move it? Mobility-wise, can you get into the positions to hold your arm back, have your scap pinned back, and with as much shoulder hip separation, as you can. And it was super interesting to kind of dive into all the little intricacies of the delivery, and I just watched guys that threw 100. This guy throws 100. How does he do it? Well, I mean, his hips are open and his arm is back, and he's just rotating through. His head's not pulling off. He's just rotating around. It looks like a top.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, like a whip. And so once I kind of changed my mentality of moving hard down the mountain, ball, instead of just being like whippy. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm holding an Indiana Jones whip, like if I whip it, that kinetic chain's going to deliver that right at the end versus if I try to chop at you with it.
Yep.
And that's what I was doing. I was kind of jumping down the mound, being real rigid and forceful. I want to throw hard instead of just being long and loose. And I went from the short arm action. Now I'm at this longer flowy arm action. And that's where the guys that I see that throw really hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying.
I love it. I love it. Man,
it's been interesting.
Yeah. And I feel like once you figure out the movements too, then you can start manipulating them a little bit too, right? Whether that's adding more weight or trying to move it faster, right? Like you said.
Absolutely.
But for me too, I feel like at 32, I'm still understanding my body. So that's the thing that your body's always changing, right? You're always getting
stop.
So that's pretty cool.
The change is never done.
Right.
And if you talk to guys like DeGrom, you talk to these guys, like the work isn't done. Like your body's going to continue to change as you age.
Exactly.
Your workouts have to change.
Yep.
Like I watch a guy like Holland. He's 34 years old and still performing at a high level. Like his workouts have evolved over time to help him what he needs at that age.
Yep.
A guy who's 19 years old and in the big leagues and a guy who's 34 do not work out the same.
Not at all.
And you can't expect that your workouts that worked out 4 years ago are still going to work out for you now.
Yeah.
You know? It's always evolving. So a lot of stuff now is just proper moving instead of just getting under a squat rack and squatting as much as I can or deadlifting as much, benching as much as I can. It's like, well, I need to get into these positions throughout my delivery, and I need to be there and healthy. And so a lot more movement patterns, a lot more mobility work, a lot more cars work, a lot more FMS movement stuff I've seen has kind of been what's helping me.
Yeah.
And I've kind of got into like a lot of like joint health.
Yeah.
I think that's super important.
I love it, dude. What about so something to me when I was trying to come back and play and try to generate some more velocity, there was a lot of stuff around like ground force and stuff like that. So do you focus on any of that? And like, if so, what are some of your cues? Cause this is pure curiosity.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that. Ground force is fascinating to me.
So, I mean, anything I say is don't take it as science, you know, it's kind of just my understanding of it.
And it's your experience. It's unique to you too. Yeah.
And so if you can create force into the ground, the ground gives you force and an ability to utilize it. The slope of the mound and the height of the mound is allowing you to gain momentum and force down the mound. So all you're doing is adding speed as you're going. And what you're trying to do is stop that momentum perfectly in a really open position and creating the force and allowing the ball, your hand to deliver the baseball, and losing as least amount of force as you can.
Right.
And as effortlessly as you can. I watch a guy like Shane Boz who just got called up this year. I don't know if you know. He's a right-handed starter. He's 21 years old, and he's starting in the playoffs for the Rays.
Damn.
Guy's the most impressive arm I think I've ever really seen. He's the most advanced arm, and it's the most effortless 98, 99 I've ever seen.
And he's a starter?
He's a starter.
Dude, one of the things I've really paid attention to, and if I go back and look at all my pictures, and it was lack of information. We just didn't know. But the way that I disengaged from the rubber was awful. Mm-hmm. There was no shot at me continuing to throw hard in my career. The way my body was stiffening up, I wasn't as in tune with my body, right? And then I'm looking at my foot is off the ground before I let go of the baseball.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my, knowing what I know now,
for sure.
I was like, oh man, I wish I would have just been able to fix that a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy. But if you look at hitters and stuff, like a lot of guys like Hank Aaron, at contact, he would have his back foot off the ground. So there's a lot of ways around it, but it maintaining that ground force and maintaining contact with the ground, and allowing your hips to just open and your spine to stay back it's kind of the essence of pitching.
Yeah.
How open can I get my hips? How back can I keep my spine and shoulder? And is my arm up at foot strike?
Yep. I love that.
That's what I would tell it. Like, how simple can you make pitching? That
right there.
How much of that can you do over and over and over and over and over again and repeat the ball?
Yep.
So.
And nowadays, kids understand that language too. Like when we were playing and people were trying to tell us this, I remember hearing it. I was like, this sounds like another language to me. But kids are like conditioned now. They watch the driveline videos. They understand all this stuff. There's a ton of instruction out there for them. So it's cool to see the education evolve for these kids. And I feel like we're going to be having kids throwing 105 soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be coming.
Yeah, right?
It has to be coming. I mean, the evolution of, like, I'm looking at guys in ninth grade throwing 93, 94. I'm like,
yeah.
what?
It's crazy. It's just
unbelievable.
I couldn't even fathom that. Like,
you got guys training correctly by the time they're 9 years old. 9 to 18, you have 9 years of training, development, eating right, nutrition, stretching, all this stuff. And then you look at this guy and you're like, oh, look at Dylan Cruz at LSU.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He's been doing it right since day one.
Exactly.
And this is what you get.
Yeah.
And so baseball's in for it. It's going to be really super interesting in the next 10 years and see where the game goes.
The athlete evolution right now, like human evolution, right? Because we're having this information at an earlier age. Like you said, this kid knows how to do these movements at 9 or 10 years old. So now at 18, he's been doing this shit for 8 years. Wow.
Look at football
That's
players.
a great perspective. I love that.
Look at football players.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Basketball
to me, because I'm a basketball guy, so I watch. But like the evolution of watching a 14-year-old, or I watched this thing yesterday on House of Highlights or whatever, House of Hoops, one of the websites. This kid was in 5th grade. Most electric kid that I was like, how? What?
Just banging balls.
Yeah. Well, this kid was actually different. He was a point guard. He was a little kid dribbling, shooting off the dribble, but his step back and his release was so quick. And I'm like, this kid's been watching Steph for 8 years. And that's exactly what it looks like.
Yep.
But he has this access on his phone, and every night he just sits there for 4 hours watching Steph. Versus when we were kids, like we just had to maybe look at some baseball cards and be like, let me try to do that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, like,
and it's crazy. Just the freedom to let the athlete be who they are now is I think, everything, man.
Is MLB good with that? Are they starting to let you guys, or teams, I should say, more free with that, letting you guys have your own programs?
Yeah, our guys in Detroit are really good, but
Nice.
the communication has to be there. I think that's the number one thing. And our strength staff, our training staff is unbelievable with Detroit, and so they want to know why you're doing something.
Right.
That's all it is. Is why are you doing that?
Yep.
And if you don't really have a reason, then they're going to step in. It's
Makes sense.
Well, here's where we can help.
Right.
I mean, our strength staff's unbelievable. I'd trust those guys with anything, and it's been awesome to live with those guys. But like you were saying, like just the evolution of the athlete in the last 10 years,
Nuts.
it's scary.
I know.
I mean, there are more freak athletes now than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And everybody that gets in that box is a freak, and everybody that's towing that rubber's a freak now. Like, I mean, it's mano y mano now. There's no hiding anymore.
That's why I actually feel bad for hitters a little bit, because I feel like the pitchers are so much have advanced, even from when I stopped playing in 2016, 17, whatever that was. I would turn on the TV nowadays. I was like, I wouldn't stand a shot. I would have had to evolve or change a lot, and had an open mind on how to change my pitch repertoire or change my delivery and all these different things. And I think that's what held me back too in my last couple of years. Is I was hella stubborn and I didn't want to hear anything and hear any of the new information, But it's awesome to see it, and it does. It just cleans up the game. It makes it more entertaining and just fun. So
people like velo and they like homers.
That's it. That's what they turn on the TV for. So
exactly.
I love it.
So they got to give the people what they want.
Yeah. Well, good. What are the Tigers have you working on in the off season? What's their advice, or is it kind of just like, man, do exactly what you did last year? That was good shit.
Yeah, I struggled early this year.
Okay.
I struggled early. I gave up some homers.
In the big leagues or in the minors?
Oh yeah, the big leagues.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you got to take it.
Oh yeah, I took one Knicks. Yeah, I had a tough road trip there. We went to Chicago, Boston, Chicago, New York, Boston.
Oh,
that was our road trip.
Oh, so Chicago and the White Sox.
White Sox, New York, Boston. And I was like, okay, that's the road trip I have to be. I have to be in the big leagues by that time.
Yeah.
And so I had the opportunity. So we go to Chicago. I give up a 3-run homer to Moncada. 3-2 breaking ball. Like I'm like, this is my bread and butter. Boom, hammers him.
Okay.
All right, next pitch. No, I'm like, all right, so this guy will break him ball. Bang, homer.
What? Back-to-back benders and homers?
Back-to-back.
Oh, my God.
Back-to-back. Anyway, that was like the first blow-up inning. It's all right. We'll get back to it. Went to
just 2 runs, though? Or did
it was 4, but I cashed 1, so
gotcha,
3 for me.
Yep.
And then we go to New York, pitch a little better, go to Boston. Verdugo takes me deep, and then Bogey takes me deep. So I'm like, man, what's going on? I just got the homer bug right now, right?
Man, I thought this was good. This road trip was going to be a little bit more fun. I saw it going differently in my head.
So we go back home, whatever, and then we're facing the Cubs, which I'm like, all right, this is my team. Whatever. Rizzo gets a single, Bryant gets a single, I get an out, and then Duffy swings 2 breaking balls, and then I throw him a third one, and he parks it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness, dude. What is going on? That's my bread and butter. Like, what am I doing? It's just pitching in bad counts, man. So I got sent down. Had some stuff to work on. So for me, it's all about fastball command, dude. You got to command the heater, both sides of the plate, up and down. That's baseball at any level.
Yep.
And being able to land multiple off-speed pitches in the zone.
Yep.
And for me, I was just going 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2.
Curveballs.
And then it was just like, okay, it's 3-2. They've seen everything now.
Exactly. Yep.
Guys have seen 5, 6, 7 pitches, and at that level, guys are good enough to hit it.
Yeah.
And once I came up for my last stint in the big leagues this year. When I really started to catch my stride, it was strike 1, strike 2,
nice.
Ball 1,
yep.
Put them away. Strike 1, strike 2, strike 1, ball 1, strike 2.
Yep.
It was pitching like that and just being on the attack a little more. So that's all it is, man. Being on the attack and filling up the zone. That's what I'm going to continue to work on this offseason. Hopefully
nice.
A little stronger, a little more mobile, see where the velo's at, but really starting to command the stuff because that's what matters.
Yeah, and at that level too, right? The biggest difference that I always saw between AAA and you know what's crazy? A stat in my life. Never gave up a home run on my curveball until I got to the big leagues.
Right.
And it's just like I didn't even think about that stat until I got to the big leagues, and I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, And to me, it was the ability of those players to be able to eliminate pitches. So like you say, right? Like even portions of the zone. Hey, I know this guy's not going to go outside. He can't command the heater this way. If I see anything here, I know, right? Their brains just see it differently, react to it differently. So if the guys know you're not commanding your fastball and bread and butter is curveball, it's 3-2.
Hey, what am I sitting on?
Exactly. It's just and they don't miss it the same way a AAA guy
They might foul it back in AAA.
Right.
Or they might check swing or they pull a foul.
Or swing at a bad pitch or not in the big leagues.
No, sir.
No.
They hammer it every time.
Yep. And that's the craziest thing. But like you said, it's good that you got to go through it because you got to get kicked in the teeth a little bit, right? To like feel it and be like, I don't want that shit to happen again.
No, and everyone's always like running from failure now. I feel like failure nowadays is such like like people get so criticized to fail. Like people are scared to fail. It's like, no, man, you have to.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you learn.
I actually love failure now, especially what I've learned in business is when things are going wrong in business, I'm like, this is an opportunity to learn and grow. And it's like same thing with you.
Fix it. And then it's like, okay, I crossed that bridge. That doesn't work. Let's move on and let's see what we have to do to get where we want to get. You don't just be like, like I'm out. Like, it didn't work.
And I also tell people this too. It's like another feather in your cap. That's a phrase I use. Is like if you try something and it fails, that's a skill now. Now I know I don't try that route again. I don't try that pitch. I don't try this field, right? Whatever. It's a feather in your cap. Now I'm going to try something new, and that's evolution, right? It's trial and error to get something that you want. It's just the ability to bounce back from the failure.
Or maybe it wasn't even that one end all thing that like the straw that broke the camel's back at the end. Maybe it was the process leading up to there that caused the failure.
Correct.
And when you start becoming obsessed with your process,
that's it.
The results don't matter anymore.
And that's what you said from the beginning, bro.
That's that. When you focus on your process, and this is what I believe in, if you focus on your process, the results don't matter. They don't. Love that. Because results are going to happen. They're going to be
a byproduct.
They're going to be this or that.
Right.
There is your process is how you get there.
Correct.
And who you are, and that's what makes up, what you're giving out, what your product is, how you're going to be on the field, how you're going to be in the classroom, how you're going to be in business. Yep. This is how we do business. This is our process. Oh, by the way, here's our results are a snapshot of one individual moment in time.
That's exactly right.
And then we continue to move on. So if you become focused on the snapshots, you're missing the middle. You're missing the meat. You're missing the work. You're missing the fun. You're missing everything. And the results don't matter, dude.
That's it.
Once you learn that, dude, it's easy.
How much your mental clarity, just the stress of life is just like, okay, if something bad goes wrong, it's like it's an opportunity to grow, learn, fix.
It is what it is, and it
get better. Yeah,
that's all it is, man. It doesn't. It's so crazy. Once I had a big shift in my mentality, and that's another big thing that I worked on over the last year and a half is my mental space.
Yeah,
and my mentality of how to go about work the right way. We talked a couple years ago, and you were getting seriously into the mental side and stuff. Yeah. It kind of inspired me, honestly, to go down that path and figure it out because I've been in tough mental spaces, dude, and it's not pretty.
Yeah,
it's not.
Well, I know you. I've known you for a couple years now, and I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but we had some crazy conversations 2-3 years ago about baseball, where you were at, all these things.
Yeah.
So I know how it goes for you, man, and I know how it goes for all of us, and a lot of us in our lives in baseball, we're conditioned to be like, you're Superman. You can't feel this. You're not supposed to feel this. You're not supposed to have fear. You're not supposed to have anxiety. You're not supposed to think about quitting. But guess what? We're humans. Like that shit comes up.
Has to.
So you got to figure that. And especially in today's world with these phones and attention and instant gratification, you got to be able to handle that stuff. And the mental space is amazing. And I'm not even blowing smoke, man. Like sitting here having this, I don't want the conversation to end. Like the evolution I've seen in you as a man, I hadn't talked to you in a year probably with COVID or whatever, has been absolutely incredible, dude. Yeah, it's amazing. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. And that's the thing, man, is and you can beat yourself up out there on a mound and stuff, and you can take your results. Mm-hmm. And Coach always used to say, you have till midnight and you got to flush it.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest thing to do.
Yep.
That was the hardest thing to do, is not come to the field the next day pissed off the way you went the day. I remember my first loss in college. It took me like 4 days to get over it. And I'm like, this is just not okay. Like this is ruining every aspect of my life. Like everything else. It's like, it becomes an obsession instead of when you focus on your work, you focus on the process throughout the day, and then you just say, okay, now, hey, Anthony, you're in the game, warm up, you run out there, instead of having that anxiety of, oh, this has to go well, oh, I want this to go well so bad, just be like, I'm going to chill, I'm going to do my job, and when my job's over, I'll analyze it, and I'll just start again tomorrow.
Move on.
And that was the turning point of, I think, my season, and I think that mentality is how guys like Mike Trout and these guys that do this every single day, it's just I go and do it and I turn it off.
Yep.
I go and do it, but I know how to prepare to do it.
Right.
And that's how business is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
But it's life, everything,
life.
right? Yeah, I mean, like when baseball is done, the same principles are going to, and all the things that you're applying right now to your baseball career are going to be all applicable with the second phase of life, wife, kids, job, business, invest, right? Whatever it is, family life, however it goes, all these skills are the exact same thing. I promise you.
It is. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And it's just like, man, if I only would have just paid attention a little earlier, you know?
I know.
But it's good. But once you catch it, that's when you start writing it. Have you read the book Chop Wood, Carry Water?
No, but Bo and I talk about that all the time in my podcast. That's what I always have in the back of my head is chop wood, carry water.
Chop
it's like
wood, carry water.
That's it. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Chop
It's
wood,
the
carry
same
water.
thing
Every day.
Yep.
For anybody that's listening, that's the book. I mean, it's 100 pages. You can literally read it in 3 hours.
I feel like I got to go read it today.
As simple as a concept as it comes, like as easy of a read as it comes. I'm not a particularly great reader, and I sat down and murdered that book. I love that book. It gives you a great perspective, and it's kind of cool, and you can apply it to any part of your life.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think it goes along with Bo used to tell me that all the time. With the intentions, right? Are you doing things with the right intentions? He would always challenge, are you doing the podcast because you want followers or because you actually want people to listen and gain things from the stories and the people that you're bringing on? Or do you want attention to just say you have a podcast, right? And he would always challenge me and I would be like, no, I know my intention. I know why I'm doing this and I got to keep going. He's like, then it doesn't matter about the views, the this, the whatever, right? It's all about your process. And honestly, a lot of people ask me all the time, like, how did you come up with Cards and Culture? How did you have this vision? I'm like, it actually started with my podcast in 2018 because I kind of had this vision in the back of my head, but I just kept staying with the podcast. And then this became a landing spot of the podcast and just watch the cool things that are about to happen here.
Now this is the home. And then we have this. Now we have this. We got the shoes, the cards, and it's the artwork and everything's encompassing. And this is you. Like you walk by the store and it's like, that's Anthony right there. And that's sick. That's what's badass about this place.
And the same thing that you're talking about in baseball too, right? You might go out for a bullpen or you go out for a game. And if your intentions are to get better that day, to understand yourself, to have self-awareness, right? Rather than, I got to throw 33 strikes out of 40 pitches, right? Yeah. Like, no, motherfucker. Like, that doesn't put your worth. It's about the intentions of going in there. Are you getting better? Are you challenging yourself? All that stuff. So, man, I could talk all day on this. Got me all fired up.
For sure. I mean, it's all it is, man. It's like, don't be driven by results.
Yeah.
Be driven by the process. Because because when the results come, you get the instant gratification that we now feel from our phones every day, it's not as long lasting as you think it's going to be.
Because you're always chasing the next instant gratification. Yeah, exactly. You're always chasing. You're never there. So that's why I was like, if you have that understanding of this is where I'm, and that's why you said, you're like, man, if I wish I found it earlier, I'm like, bro, you are so, how old are you, 25?
Just turned 26.
Just turned 26.
Back half, baby.
Wow.
Back half of it.
Never mind. You're old as shit, dude. Never mind. You're old. No, but I'm 32 and I'm still figuring shit out, man. Like, it's real. So, like, and you got your whole career ahead of you right now. Like, you're young. And so to figure this stuff out, to have this level of a conversation around the self-awareness that you have around yourself, your career, where you want to go, how you see yourself. Unbelievable, dude. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's come a long way from
it's
the first couple years of pro ball.
Yeah, dude, you have to grow up. That's the thing, and I'm glad it happened.
Yeah,
and it's fine. Like, I take my licks. You say what you want. It is what it is. And it's made me who I am, and I'm interested to see where we end up in 5 years.
Exactly.
And just enjoying the ride along the way and having fun with it, because that's the thing is the results. I used to be that's all I cared about.
Yep.
Now it's like. I want the journey, man. That's what it's all about. It's having fun and seeing, just chasing what you like.
Exactly. Just enjoying that moment and being present and stuff. Kind of like I just keep looking at your hat and appreciating that you're wearing that in the shop.
Hey, this thing is sick. You guys got to come check out the gear down here.
Let's go.
Shout out to Anthony.
Is Brandy here?
Yeah, she is. She showed love when we walked in. Yeah, she did. She's like, I
saw it. Yeah, and I was like, I forgot to comment on it. Yeah, you're wearing the Ball is Life volleyball hat.
That's nice, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, dude. Appreciate the support. Thanks for
Absolutely.
coming in. Thanks for. I know you're getting ready to leave again, so I appreciate the time and
do it again.
stopping by. Always, dude.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.